Hi, my name is Luna Love, and this is the time I took 8 grams of mushrooms and died. So, my partner and I would do mushroom trips every full moon. This was probably the maybe like 10th or 15th trip that we did together in his apartment, which I do not recommend. I like to do large doses. I always do 8 grams because it represents an infinity symbol, and in my mind, I believe that I need to take a certain amount for a doorway to open up for me to really have a powerful trip. So I've been used to taking this amount, but on this specific night, when we took the medicine, he goes into his separate corner. I'm in the bedroom just laying in bed. And this night, probably 30, 45 minutes in, normal onset, I don't feel normal. I feel different. I am actually a little bit alarmed to the point where I tell my partner, like, hey, something's wrong and I may have to go to the hospital. And I never want to go to the hospital, let alone on my mushrooms. So that was a big red flag for me. I felt like I couldn't keep my head up. My head was so heavy, and I kept kind of passing out a little bit, like I was losing consciousness. And I've never experienced that before. So he just tells me, wait, it'll pass, basically. I'm still in bed at this moment, and I see that the whole apartment is filling with smoke. It's foggy, and I don't smell smoke, but it's just hazy in the apartment. So I look a little bit closer to the smoke, and I realize it's all these overlapping little circles all over, which I've seen before as the flower of life. And I've seen pictures, but I've never seen it in the air. It was just everywhere in the entire apartment. And I know that's the fabric of reality, but to see it in person blew my mind. It also calmed me at the same time because I was feeling weird, and then to see that, I'm like, okay, the mushrooms are just doing what the mushrooms are supposed to do. I eventually get to the side of the bed, and I'm still feeling really, really just not in control of my senses. Like I said, I keep feeling like I'm losing consciousness. And we have 2 small dogs, and our male dog is whining up a storm. Clearly, he's concerned about his mom. He was reflecting what I was feeling inside. So that kind of scared me. This dog is picking up that I'm in this inner turmoil, and I don't really know what to do. And a thought came into my mind, I took too much. I took way too much, and I'm dying, and this is what that feels like. I believe my partner's in the restroom. He comes out, and I ask him to hold me because I don't really freaking know what else to do. So having a man hold me, it was okay, that sounds nice. So he comes to the side of the bed, and he's holding me, and in my brain, I'm just thinking about death and what it would be like to die. And I understand I'm an eternal soul that lives forever, but I am attached to this body. I like this body. I like this life. And I was kind of going back and forth, do I die? Do I not die? And I finally came to terms with it. And then the thought of death sounded relieving. It sounded relaxing. And I just closed my eyes and let my head slump, and I just released all attachment to my human vessel. Essentially, I died. And at that very moment, it sounds crazy, but energy from the base of my spine shot up my entire spine into my head, and I was overwhelmed with the most intense energy I've ever felt in my life. I felt electric. I felt on fire in a good way. It felt orgasmic. It felt so sensual and pleasurable and blissful and ecstatic. It was the best feeling I've ever felt. So that happens, and I immediately am overwhelmed with his energy, and I start writhing on the floor in like pleasure. Like, I can't control my body. It feels so good, and my body's just doing whatever the heck my body wants, and I'm just going with it. Like, I am, like I said, writhing and like twerking and just moving and gyrating and shaking, and it was incredible. A little alarming because I'm like, I don't know what this is, but this is very freaking nice. I did that for a little bit, and then I asked my partner, I don't know why I did this. I asked my partner to lay on the bed, and I wanted to lay on top of him. Not to be sexual or anything. I think I thought it would ground me, like having his body. So again, I wasn't trying to be sexual, but I was laying on him and like gyrating. And all of a sudden I had the urge to like somersault, like backflip, and I was not in control of my body, and I just flipped on this poor man, and my butt's on the pillow, and then I roll off the side of the bed, and we have like a skinny side on one side, and I fall into that section, and I'm like stuck pretty much, and he has to help me up, but I'm still just like in this state of ecstasy. And I had the craving, like such a strong desire that I wanted to be in the ocean. Like I felt like I was a little drop of water, and I wanted to be in the ocean. And I kept telling him that, like, I want to be in the ocean. I want to be in the ocean. And then I had the thought about the sun, and I wanted to crawl up in a little ball and lay in the sun. Like, I wanted to nap in the sun and just feel nice and warm and cozy. And I kept telling him that too. And I had a download of God or source, creator, universe, whatever you want to call it, is just a giant pulsing ball of light and love. And that would look like a sun. And I had this urge to go back to that. Like, I wanted to go back to source. Like, what I was feeling was how I felt there, and somehow my brain connected those two. And then my energy was so profound, like it was so intense for my human vessel to hold it. I wanted to like be obliterated. I wanted to, like being a drop in the ocean, I wanted to just disperse all of my being into everything. I felt like I was nothing and everything at the same time, and I had so much energy in me. I just wanted to explode into pieces, whatever the heck that means. So that went on for a little bit. And then somehow I was crawling on the floor, and I got to the living room, and I had this understanding of everything. I knew everything. Everything made such sense to me. I could connect everything in my past, my whole entire trajectory, and how one thing led to the next thing, and those traumas and dramas allowed me to grow into this next version of me, and it made perfect sense to me, and it was so relaxing. I could see all the signs and symbols and synchronicities, and I could see the purpose for certain people in my life and things I went through that really just made me who I am now. And it made perfect sense. Like, I didn't hold any attachment to it. I was like, oh yeah, that makes sense. And then I got this kind of sadness that I was gonna forget it. Like with mushrooms or any plant medicines, your consciousness opens to a point where you can receive all this information, and it makes sense. But then when you come down from the trip, like that amount of consciousness narrows, and you kind of essentially forget what the heck you just experienced. And I kept saying, like, please don't let me forget. Like, I was so sad about it. I was like, please don't let me forget. Like, I just experienced like complete nirvana, and I'm about to go back to the human world, and that just was very depressing. So again, I'm writhing in like orgasmic bliss, knowing all these tidbits of information from the universe, but also highly aware that I'm about to forget all this, and I don't want to. Please don't let me. So that went on for like 2 to 3 hours, I would say, with me just being in like the most pleasurable peak state of my life, all because I decided to let go and die. So I come down from the trip, and I need to figure out what the heck just happened, because I've never heard of this. And if this is a human potential that I've never been taught, like, there's something wrong. And if I've experienced this, someone must have information on this. The next day I research it and I find out it's called Kundalini energy. So every human has life force at the base of their spine that they can raise through their spinal canal, up all their chakras, blasting them all open into their brain. And their brain in your pineal gland produces DMT. And I found out you can excite it with plant medicines like I did. There is tantric sex practices, there is meditation, there is ecstatic dance can activate it, fasting can activate it, meditation, if I didn't say that. So that set me on my own separate journey, because it's like, if my body can do this naturally with just meditating and other things, like, I need to delve into this and devote a large portion of my life to it. Yeah, that was the time I died on 8 grams of mushrooms and blasted my Kundalini open. So I appreciate you guys for listening and watching. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. If this has happened to you, I would love to hear that story. I think it is so utterly fascinating, and I would love to hear from you. So I'm gonna be posting some more of my mushroom trips. I have some crazy stories. Yeah. I also just got back from Costa Rica. I did 4 sessions of ayahuasca, and that video is gonna be pretty long. But if you'd like to hear all those, I would love to hear it. So you guys have a good night. Bye.